Hi everyone, my name is Joe Reitz and I'm a marketing specialist with Stanley Security, and this is Nation Talks. So in this episode I want to talk to you guys a little bit today about digital advertising and how you can use Marketo to track effectiveness. It's important to mention on the outset though that Marketo is only going to be able to capture information about known leads, meaning that these leads have somehow verified their identity to you, whether it's filling out a form on your website or a landing page, or clicking a link in an email you sent them. Marketo knows who these people are. However, there are some cool ways that you can track anonymous web activity as well with some custom URLs, and we'll get into that. At Stanley, the engagement engine is everything to us. We produce an average of 7 pieces of content every month that's just meant to be useful, engaging, and really cement our place as a thought leader in our industry. And we've had some success with that. However, we set up our programs to be, the typical scalable, heavily tokenized things that you'll hear other Marketo champions champion as a best practice, just because they're very scalable, they're very quick to make, and they're just good. And we can get into all kinds of reporting shenanigans on the back end with proving ROI, seeing what topics work, what doesn't, and really tracking conversions and lead gen in an incredible way. But the problem with advertising in that is that the channels and lead sources are set up for content, and we can add in a program cost for advertising, but that's not really clean. So we want to kind of separate those costs, like the cost to produce a piece of content and the cost of advertising, and report on them separately. But we still want to make sure that the content has the first touch attribution. So there's a couple ways we can do that, and I'll show you how we do it at Stanley. So when we look at our tree in Marketo, what we see is there's a variety of self-contained content programs, and these are all set up as vertical specific. We've got the channel tag as content, and we've got program costs for each one dialed in. Now, there are 2 key ways you can measure advertising in Marketo out of the box, and one that doesn't really leverage any reporting data, but it really gives you a quick snapshot of how that content is doing for an ad, is to use a smart list. And in our reporting folder here, we have a variety of sources, and simply how you would build a URL to have that source is by going to landing page actions, and then you could go to URL tools and URL builder, and then you could type the source here, like in this case CS ad for campus safety ad, and then you'd update the URL, and you see here where I've highlighted there's a question mark ref equals CS ad. That's what's called a query string. So this is Marketo's built-in tool. You could use Google Analytics or Google URL Builder to create a goal in Google Analytics where you track clicks on a specific link that uses a much more robust UTM parameter structure to the URLs. But this works just as well for our purposes today. So once you've built that query string, what you do is you create a smart list, and that's what lived in this folder over here. So we have a variety of smart lists, and we clone these and then just change the query string. But the filter you use is filled out form, and then you have to add 2 constraints to it. One is the web page is, and that's your landing page in the program. And then the query string contains, and that's CS ad like we just used. And what this will essentially give you is anytime someone fills out the form with that query string, they'll be automatically added to the smart list, and you'll be able to see down to the individual user how much information you have on them, and you can really dive in to see, okay, were they a new lead? Did they, what was their source? And really dig into their normal lead data, like right here from this screen. Unfortunately, all this does is let you know the count of how many people accessed from a given link. So from this ad, we had eight leads come through. But if we wanted to get to that level of reporting detail where we're actually tracking the program cost of the ad and marking success to the vertical and other channels, what we need to do is build a self-contained program. And that looks very similar, actually, because we've done that. And here, it's simply a program that has a smart campaign that basically says the smart list is a trigger instead of a filter, but it's exactly the same. Form name is, web page is, query string contains. And then the flow for that is simply to change their program status. Digital advertising here is a channel of ours, but we change them to a member, not success, because if we do success, then that's gonna make the reporting wonky in terms of attribution with the ROI modeler. And then we add an interesting moment because we use sales insights and we want our salespeople to understand that they clicked the link on an ad that pertained to this. So that basically concludes a couple tips for how to track advertising success in Marketo. This has been Nation Talks. My name is Joe Reitz. Talk to you guys soon.